Green Lantern New Guardians number 17, written by Tony Bedard, art by Aaron Coder. So, Wrath of the First Lantern, part whatever. We open up in New York City, and Kyle Rayner is just back in his apartment, and the First Lantern is there, and he's like, hey, I hope you don't mind if I brought you home and just talked to you here, because like me and we got a special thing going on here. Both of us deal in all of the emotions, and I really think it's good that someone else is emotionally evolved. Anyway, I'm Volthoom. How are you? And he immediately starts sending out his little feeling tentacles at Kyle, who goes full White Lantern and tries to blast him. And he's like, oh, no, my dear boy. You being able to wield the entire emotional spectrum was dangerous to the Guardians, but to me, it just makes you the most fun little plaything. And he tears apart Kyle's life and sees his entire lifeline from birth to now, and he's like, all right, let's take a look. What if you are able to do so many amazing things, why do you make so many bad choices? And he goes back to the moment where his girlfriend got fridged, was killed, and he's like, well, here's one. Let's see what we can do about this. And he changes that moment, but still sets the present to now. And we see that Kyle wakes up, and his girlfriend Alex is still alive, but it seems that she's moving out. And Kyle, he's immediately just hugging her and just like, oh my God, you're alive. You're here. It's great. This is awesome. I think this is some kind of parallel timeline or something like that. But regardless, you're here. And he's like, whoa, hold on, parallel timeline, like what in the world are you talking about? Look, you were a Green Lantern for like a little bit, like 2 minutes practically, and then you gave it up because you didn't want to be like putting me or your mom in danger or anything like that. And so that's why you stopped being a Green Lantern. And like it makes me feel guilty that you gave up all that for me, and that's why our relationship didn't work out. And Kyle's like, I gave up being a Green Lantern for you? And she's like, yeah, and I wish you didn't, because maybe then you were going to be, something great, something amazing. And at that point, Kyle just, as she's packing, puts his hand on hers and just be like, hey, again, not entirely sure what's happened over the past few years, but I guarantee you, we're not done. Like, I'm not giving up on us. And I genuinely thought I was never going to see you again. And then all of a sudden, his hand starts glowing. And turns out that he still has the White Lantern thing because he still has the ability over all of his emotions. Like, he knows how to do that. So he still is able to become a White Lantern. He grabs up Alex and just be like, oh man, today's the first day of the rest of our lives, Alex. And First Lantern's like, wow, that's crazy. All the other lanterns that I've been torturing so far have just been tortured. But you somehow managed to turn this around into something positive. That's crazy. Anyway, I can't let you have that. Let's go do something else. So he looks farther back into Kyle's past and is just like, what is this? Are you able to be so positive because your mom or is it your dad? Oh, hey, your dad. That's a whole thing. So at that point, Kyle wakes up. He's underneath the car and he's like, okay, I got to remember. I was just with, crap, what was her name? And he remembers Alex. He shouts it out. And as he looks around, he sees that his dad is there. And he's working in his dad's garage, and his dad is paying off a local cop. And turns out it's just like shakedown money. And Kyle goes out to try to beat up the cop, and his dad stops him to be like, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, oh, I'm not going to sit here and let my dad be shaken down. And so he goes out to yell at the cop. First Lantern's there, and he's like, hey, I just took away the thing you just experienced. Like, I went back further into your past, and I made it so that your dad never walked out on you. And at that point, he's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm still me. I know who I am underneath it all. And he's like, yeah, but like, your dad, he's the one who raised you now. Your dad is the one who did all that. So, I mean, did you know how to work a car beforehand? Do you know how to fix cars? Clearly, you know how to do that now. And he's like, oh, yeah. My dad did teach me that. And he's starting to like remember this other life. But he's like, no, that's not real. None of that is real. So at that point, because he's shouting at the First Lantern while he was going to confront the cop, and obviously the cop can't see the First Lantern, the cop thinks he's yelling at him. He gets ready to attack Kyle, and then everything goes dark. And we cut to another point in time where Kyle did become a Green Lantern, And so he's flying around with this ring. He immediately goes White Lantern again. And as he's looking around for anything, he sees Sinestro's emblem carved up on the moon. And he's like, well, this definitely ain't the right timeline. And then all of a sudden, Guy Gardner attacks him. And he's just like, oh, I am going to murder you, Kyle. And Kyle's like, what for? I don't even know what I did. And he's like, and he brings up Hal, because he's like, Hal's the one who stopped the Sinestro Corps. That didn't have anything to do with me. And Guy's like, Hal died. Hal was dead after however he died back pre-Flashpoint and trying to reignite the sun. Like, he's not. It was up to you to stop the Sinestro Corps, and you failed, and all of these good Lanterns died. The entire Corps is dead, and a lot of Earth's heroes are as well, all because you couldn't fill Hal's shoes. And at that point, First Lantern stops time, and he's like, see? That's what you're insecure about. You can't fill Hal Jordan's shadow. You never could. And Kyle's like, that's not how it is. You're an idiot. And he's like, okay, whatever. Regardless, I like you, Kyle. You seem like a good dude. So how about this? Unlike everybody else, I'm going to let you pick which reality I send you to. Which timeline will be the quote-unquote real one? And Kyle pauses, and he's like, I want to be with Alex. Send me back to Alex. Just let me have my life with her. And First Lantern's like, no. And then he immediately just throws him back into an empty apartment. Kyle's like, you promised. And he's like, yeah, I did. That's because the emotion I like the most, the tastiest one for me, is despair. And boy, do you have a lot of that. So yeah, he that's where the issue ends. He just throws Kyle a bone and then immediately rips it away. I think this one is great. I think it is a solid look, not only into Kyle as a character, but also examining just how far the First Lantern's powers reach, because clearly there is a limit. He was not able to overcome the fact that Kyle Rayner is a White Lantern. Like, that is an immutable fact now. So that's interesting to see. I like that concept, that there are still limits to it, even though he seems to basically just be reality shifting. So, yeah, overall, I'm going to say this one... I want to say 8. I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. It is a super solid book. The art is great. Really don't have any issues with it at all. It's just kind of setting up bigger things down the road. So, loving it.